Hi, I'm Heather Butler, and I'm the Social Sciences and History Librarian here at South. Today, we are going to look at tactics for reading a classic research article. There are other types of academic articles, but we are only looking at articles where the author has identified an issue, they did an experiment or investigation about the issue, and they are telling us their results. You can open this same article and follow along with me, or you can also follow along by looking at your own article for your own research project. Awesome. So we can look at this abstract and we can see what it has to tell us about the topic. So this is about quality friendships and foster former foster youth, and it's talking about that they did research through they did communicative daily life stories. We know that's qualitative research where things are found out by like talking and descriptions rather than hard numbers. And that it's also talking about education. And they say that it does show that friendships had a positive effect. So we've got a good baseline for moving forward, a good base understanding. We are going to go into actually reading through this article. Now, articles are broken up into sections, but not every article will have the same sections or the same names for sections. It will vary depending on the publisher, the journal, and the author themselves. Let's go. We can orient ourselves to an article by looking for the methodology section. This is where it tells us, the author tells us exactly what they studied, like how they did their study, what like method that they used, what kind of framework or approach, who did they study, what qualities did they study. All of that kind of information is part of the methodology section. Before the methodology section is where they tell us what their specific topic is, like what is their specific research question that they're investigating, or what is their specific hypothesis. And then after methodology section, after they tell you about how they did all of their research, then they do their like discussion section. They talk about what the results are and they talk about what those results mean. They give you conclusions. They might give suggestions like for implications or for things that should be studied in the future. Before the methods section is where the author is usually going to say what their specific topic is, like specifically what is the research question that they're investigating, or what is specifically the like hypothesis that they're investigating. So the hypothesis would be like an if-then statement. So like if former foster care children have strong relationships, then that will correlate with a like higher achievement in college, things like that. So you'd be looking for a statement like that. And this one, actually, it's a little weird because it's not in the introduction section. It's actually at the very top of the methodology section. All right, and after the methodology section where they talk about like what specifically they're studying, who they're studying, and they also talk about how they analyze their data, then we're going to have our sections where they talk about results. So these will be the results of their research. They'll talk about like applications for those results. They'll have a conclusion and a discussion of the like content, like what they found, how it can be applied, just whatever they specifically have their focus on. This should be where they answer or their research question or say that they can't answer it, that kind of like determination. But this is where you can also compare their results to their hypothesis, like are the results actually relevant to their hypothesis. And you can also check and look back at their data analysis and see how they got to those results, if that kind of pathway makes sense. You can also look back at their introduction where they give you the context for their research, like what kind of terms they're using, how they define those terms, just the context of the research, and you can see if it makes sense how they then fit their conclusion and their results, fit those with the context of like what's going on in the rest of the research world. So this is kind of like the way to break down a paper and to look at the different sections of it and see how those sections interact. Always the first thing to do is to look for the methodology section, and that can help you orient yourself for the rest of the research paper. And of course, whenever you're looking through a research paper, whenever you have a actual specific research project that you're doing, at each step, It's fine to realize that maybe this research paper actually does not fit your research project, and then you can just stop reading it. All right, so let's finish by talking about qualities that are common in social sciences research. What are things that you could look for? Now, these won't be present in every single kind of social sciences research, but they are common. So, who is being studied? What's the population? What's the demographics? Is anybody missing who should probably be part of this study? And where's the research happening? What's the country? What's the area? If they interview people, where did they interview them? We also have things like, what is the intervention? This is the independent variable, the change maker. For this article that we're looking at, that would be friendship. They are studying how friendship affects former foster youth. We can also see, was there any methodology that was used? So for this, they tell us that they use communicative methodology. This is what they use on top of just their kind of like data collection and data analysis. And we also can see how do they collect the data. For this one, it was, talking to people. What limitations were in this research? Is what went wrong or is missing? Other qualities might stand out to you depending on your research project, so just be open to just looking for what seems to be interesting or important for either this paper and or your research project. So good luck!